Stop. Before you spin that old Jefferson nickel, take a closer look at the Monticello on the back. One rare version could be worth an unbelievable fortune, and some collectors would pay hundreds of thousands, even potentially millions for the right coin. In this video, I'll show you exactly what to look for, so check your nickels before it's too late. Imagine this. You're standing at a checkout counter. The cashier hands you a few coins as change. You barely glance at them before shoving them into your pocket. It's just pocket change, right? That nickel you just dismissed could be the one. The one that turns a casual transaction into a life-changing event. This isn't just a story about a coin. This is a story about hidden wealth, about the fortune that slips through our fingers every single day. We're going to talk about the 1967 no-mint mark Jefferson Nickel, a coin that holds a secret that could be worth up to $999,000. Today, we aren't just talking about history. We're talking about the treasure that might be hiding in your jar of loose change right now. Welcome to the hunt for the $999,000 nickel. There exists a clear divide in this world: the spender and the collector. The spender sees a nickel. It's 5 cents, a piece of metal to be discarded or used for a gumball. The collector sees a story, a piece of history, and a potential investment. The 1967 nickel sits perfectly on this line. In 1967, the United States Mint was in chaos. We were in the middle of a severe coin shortage. The government, in a bizarre attempt to discourage coin hoarding, decided to remove all mint marks from coins. For the spender, this is just a plain coin. For the collector, this blank canvas is a siren's call. They know that within this 1967 coin lies one of the most fascinating ghosts in American numismatics. The absence of a mint mark was a statement, making every 1967 coin a unique piece of a strange moment in American history. Now, you might be thinking, I've seen 1967 nickels before. They're common, and you would be right. Over 107 million of these coins were struck between the Philadelphia and Denver mints. They are everywhere. But that is precisely why the truly valuable ones are so special. It is the needle in a haystack principle. The value isn't in the coin itself, but in the condition of the coin and the errors that occurred during its creation. Most of these coins circulated for decades. They are worn, scratched, and dull. They are worth exactly 5 cents. However, a small, almost impossibly small fraction of these coins were never released into general circulation. They were kept in special mint sets, SMS, a collector's product created by the mint to replace proof sets during those years. These coins have a distinct, polished finish. They aren't as shiny as a proof, but they have a stunning satin-like luster that sets them apart. Finding an SMS coin in your pocket change is rare, but it's the first step to uncovering something truly special. Stop what you're doing right now. Take out your pocket change. Look at the date on the nickel. If you have a 1967, hold it up to the light. Look at Thomas Jefferson's hair, the details on a collar. Now, flip it over and look at Monticello. This is where the treasure hunt begins. You see, there's a specific, defining feature that separates the valuable coins from the worthless ones. And it has to do with the steps of Monticello. Collectors go absolutely crazy for a designation known as full steps. This means that the steps on the reverse of the coin, leading up to the house, are fully visible and distinct from the rest of the design. It is an incredibly difficult detail to strike perfectly. On most 1967 nickels, the steps are blurry, indistinct, or merged together. But on a perfect strike, you can count the individual steps. Here is the mind-blowing part. The 1967 Jefferson Nickel is one of the most difficult coins in the entire series to find with full steps. In fact, as of the most recent data, PCGS, one of the top coin grading services, has never certified a single 1967 nickel with full steps. Not one. It is the ghost of the Jefferson Nickel series. If you were to find a 1967 nickel with full steps, you would be holding a coin that effectively doesn't exist in the eyes of the grading community. You would be making history. But let's say your coin doesn't have full steps. Does that mean it's worthless? Not necessarily. The value of this coin is a ladder, and the first step up from face value is the special mint set designation. A standard, circulated 1967 nickel is worth a nickel. But an SMS coin in gem uncirculated condition, say an MS-65, can be worth around $22. That's a significant jump for a coin that cost 5 cents to make. And if that coin has a cameo finish, where the fields are mirror-like and the devices are frosty, the value can jump even further. An SMS nickel in a perfect MS-67 grade with a cameo designation is a rare bird. In fact, NGC has only graded a few hundred of these at the MS-67 cameo level. This is where we start seeing four-figure auction results. So, you've checked your pocket change, and you haven't won the lottery yet. But the story doesn't end there. Because the most valuable 1967 nickels aren't just about condition. They are about mistakes. During the minting process, things can go wrong, and these errors make coins infinitely more valuable. The most valuable errors are called off-metal strikes. Imagine this. The machines at the U.S. Mint are designed to strike specific coins from specific metal blanks or planchets. But sometimes, a planchet meant for a dime or a penny gets stuck in the hopper for nickel blanks. And the next thing you know, a nickel is being stamped onto a penny planchet. This creates a 1967 nickel struck on a cent planchet. Because a cent is smaller than a nickel, the design doesn't fit, creating a visually stunning error. The coin is smaller and shows a strange clip design. These off-metal errors are incredibly rare and highly sought after. These errors can command anywhere from $1,000 to over $2,000, depending on the condition. And then there's the ultimate prize. Think about the sheer scarcity of a coin that combines incredible, flawless condition, an error, and the historical anomaly of the no-mint mark year. There is an anecdotal market value that puts the ultimate 1967 error nickel into the realm of the near-mythical. We're talking about the possibility of a coin reaching the $500,000 to near $1 million mark. Imagine ao mianosute shaizit shishapte nickel. Now imagine that it is an off-metal strike on a dime planchet, but with the details of a perfect full-step Monticello in an SMS finish. It's a convergence of conditions that would make it the holy grail of modern-era coins. Now, let's talk about the market. Is this just a fantasy, or is there real heat behind these coins? The market for high-grade modern coins has been on fire. The coin market activity score for the 1967 nickel has seen a massive upward trend recently. This interest is driven by a generational shift, as new collectors enter the scene looking for the one that got away. The combination of FOMO and the digital age means that a coin can go viral. When a rare coin appears, it doesn't just sell to a local collector. It sells to a global network of high rollers. We've seen SMS 1967 nickels sell for over $6,900 at auction for a single MS-67 specimen. That is a 138,000% return on its face value. So what is the takeaway? The 1967 Jefferson Nickel is the ultimate symbol of hidden in plain sight. It is a coin that is both incredibly common and impossibly rare. The line between 5 cents and $999,000 is a microscopic one. It's a line measured in the luster of the metal, the clarity of step on a building, or the mistake of putting a nickel design on a penny planchet. It reminds us that extraordinary value often exists in the most ordinary of places. We are trained to dismiss the small things, to see a coin and think of it as a burden or a trivial object. But the 1967 nickel challenges that perception. It's a test of your awareness. It's a call to look closer at the world around you. The next time you see a 1967 nickel, don't just spend it. Look at it. Study it. Don't be the spender who tosses aside a fortune. Be the collector who sees the possibility. The hunt is what makes this hobby so electrifying. It is the constant, thrilling possibility that just around the corner, in your pocket, or in an old jar in the attic, you might find the one that changes everything. Imagine this for a moment. You're standing at a busy checkout counter. The cashier is impatiently waiting as you fumble for exact change. You toss a few coins onto the counter, barely glancing at them, eager to get out of the store and move on with your mundane Tuesday. But what if I told you that in that split second of indifference, you could have just let go of a ticket to a completely different life? What if one of those coins wasn't just 5 cents, but a key that could unlock a kingdom of hidden wealth? This is the line that divides the average spender from the astute collector. It is the line between losing money and making a fortune. Today, we are going to explore the fascinating world of a 1981 P. Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel. We're going to talk about a coin that, to the untrained eye, looks like pocket change, but to the savvy numismatist, represents an ultra-rare ghost in the market with a potential value that has skyrocketed to an astonishing $876,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. 6 figures. And it might be sitting in your junk drawer right now. Let's go back to 1981. The United States Mint in Philadelphia was churning out nickels by the hundreds of millions. In fact, they produced over 657 million of these coins that year. They were sent to banks, distributed to stores, and placed into the hands of millions of Americans. Most of those coins, the standard 1981 P nickels, are worth precisely 5 cents, or maybe a few dollars if they are in pristine, uncirculated condition. They are common. They are ordinary. They're the clutter that fills the bottom of your purse or the cup holder in your car. However, buried within that massive mintage, something extraordinary happened. Something went wrong at the mint. And when things go wrong at the mint, they create the most valuable errors in the history of coin collecting. You see, to create a nickel, the mint uses a specific blank planchet made of 75% copper and 25% nickel alloy. It weighs exactly 5 grams and measures 21.2 millimeters in diameter. But in 1981, a few rogue planchets intended for a different coin, the Lincoln cent, somehow ended up in the nickel presses. This is the error that creates the ultimate prize. The coin we are looking for is a 1981 P. Jefferson Nickel that was accidentally struck on a copper cent planchet. Instead of the standard silver-gray color of a nickel, this error coin has the distinct reddish-brown hue of a penny. It is smaller, thinner, and weighs only 3.1 grams instead of the standard 5. The design of Monticello and Thomas Jefferson is struck onto a blank that is too small to hold the full design, meaning the edges of the coin often appear weak or cut off. It is an unmistakable ghost in the system, a coin that was never supposed to exist. Because the mint has strict quality control systems to prevent the mixing of planchets, these errors are incredibly rare. They are the holy grail for error coin collectors, and their rarity is exactly why they command such astronomical prices. Let's talk about what happens when a coin like this hits the market. While a typical 1981 P nickel in circulated condition is worth face value, and an uncirculated version might fetch a few dollars, the struck on a cent planchet error is in a completely different league. We have seen authenticated examples of these 1981 P nickel errors selling for $4,000 to $6,000 at auction. But that is just the beginning. The market for such extreme rarities has been heating up to an unprecedented degree. Recent sales data indicates that the value is soaring, with price trends showing an increase of over 800% in just the last 12 months. We're talking about potential auction records reaching towards the $876,000 mark. This is not just a collection piece. It is a major investment. But why this particular coin? Why the 1981 P? The answer lies in the perfect storm of conditions. First, the Philadelphia Mint is the largest producer of coinage, and a sheer volume of 1,981 nickels means that any error from that facility is a needle in a massive haystack. Second, the wrong planchet error is one of the most dramatic and easily identifiable mint mistakes. It is a visual and physical anomaly that is impossible to counterfeit convincingly. Third, the professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have certified a few of these gems, giving them a seal of authenticity that collectors trust. When you have a coin that is intrinsically rare, historically unique, and professionally authenticated, you have a recipe for a bidding war. The excitement surrounding this coin is fueled by a powerful emotion, FOMO, the fear of missing out. We see it in the market trends. Collectors and investors are scrambling to find these errors because they know they represent an unbelievably high return on investment. Think about it. You invest a tiny amount of time and effort to look through your old change, and you could potentially be holding a coin worth enough to buy a house or secure your retirement. That is the dream we are all chasing. I want you to do something right now. I want you to pause this video for just a moment. Go to your drawer, your jar, your old coat pocket. Look at your nickels. I want you to look for a nickel that looks like a penny. Look for that reddish hue, the smaller size, the weak or clipped edges. This is the pattern interrupt. You're not just a passive viewer. You could be an active treasure hunter. If you find a coin that seems a bit off, don't just spend it. That off feeling could be your golden ticket. It is the difference between pocket change and serious, life-altering wealth. The American dream is often associated with hard work and smart investments. But finding an ultra-rare coin, like the 1981 piece struck on cent planchet error, is a shortcut. It is the manifestation of hidden wealth, the universe rewarding the observant and the diligent. The market is hot, the demand is soaring, and the supply is almost non-existent. If you ever find yourself in possession of this error, you are not just a collector. You are a custodian of an extremely valuable piece of American minting history. So, the next time you handle your pocket change, I want you to stop and look. Stop and wonder, could this be the one? Could this be the coin that makes you the protagonist of a modern-day treasure story? The 1981 P nickel is out there. It is waiting to be discovered, and it is worth a fortune. Imagine standing at a crossroads. Not a physical one, but a financial one. On your left, you see the vast majority of people, the spenders. They see a coin, a simple tool for commerce. On your right, you see the elite, the collectors, the individuals who view every piece of currency in their pocket not as mere change, but as a potential artifact that could rewrite their financial future. Today, we aren't talking about just any coin. We're talking about the 1981 D mint mark Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel, a coin that for most of its existence has been a ghost in the numismatic world. But what if I told you that this specific piece of copper-nickel alloy, a coin you might have held in your hand without a second thought, could be the key to unlocking a seven-figure sum? What if the pocket change you are about to spend on coffee is actually a ticket to a $703,000 payday? This is the story of the ultimate treasure hunt, and it begins right now. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The 1981 D Jefferson Nickel is, on the surface, incredibly common. The Denver Mint produced over 364 million of these coins, making them a staple of everyday transactions. On the open market, a typical circulated coin is worth exactly its face value, 5 cents. If you have one in pristine, uncirculated condition, you might be looking at a few dollars. It's this very commonality that creates the perfect storm of indifference. The spender looks at this coin and sees a nickel. The collector looks at this coin and sees a potential ghost. Why a ghost? Because hidden within this massive sea of commonality are a select few coins that were struck with catastrophic errors, transforming them from pocket change into museum-quality rarities that command prices akin to fine art. This is the core of the FOMO, the fear of missing out, the fear that you have already spent a fortune. Let's dive deep into the confrontation. This is where we separate the standard coin from the Holy Grail. To understand the value, we must understand the errors. The 1981 D nickel is famous for its anomalies, specifically in the minting process. The most significant, and the one that drives the value into the stratosphere, is the wrong planchet error. Specifically, a nickel struck on a cent planchet. Copper is the dominant metal in a cent planchet, giving the coin a distinct appearance and weight. A standard nickel weighs exactly 5.00 grams. A 1981 D nickel struck on a cent planchet weighs a mere 3.06 grams. That difference in weight is the difference between a nickel and a new home. When you hold a coin that doesn't look or feel right, you are holding a potential fortune. Authenticated examples of this specific error type have been known to sell for $1,500 to $3,500, with pristine, MS-graded examples reaching $4,000 to $6,000. But we are reaching for the $703,000 mark, which means we need to look at the absolute apex of rarity. A perfect full steps example combined with this extreme error. To reach the highest tiers of valuation, the condition must be immaculate. The full steps designation refers to the detail visible on Monticello. On the reverse of the coin, you have the steps leading up to the building. To be considered full steps, the lines on the steps must be clearly defined and complete. This is incredibly rare due to the technical difficulties of striking the nickel, leading to a soft strike on the steps. When you combine the wrong planchet error with a full steps designation and then add the final piece of the puzzle, the repunched mint mark, you are entering the realm of the elite. The mint mark D on a 1981 D nickel sometimes shows evidence of being stamped twice. This repunched mint mark, RPM, is a subtle but highly sought-after variety that can push the value of an already rare coin into the six-figure territory. Certified and authenticated examples of the repunched mint mark have been valued as high as $2,500 and beyond, while other errors like the off-center strike or die cracks add modest premiums of $10 to $100. Is the convergence of these specific, catastrophic errors on a single coin that creates the ultimate collector's item. Now, let's face the resolution. The current market for these ultra-rare nickels is experiencing a massive surge. The market is hot, driven by a new wave of collectors who are realizing that modern coins can be some of the most valuable assets. The pursuit of a perfect 1981D nickel represents the intersection of history, art, and luck. The value of a coin lies in the eye of the beholder, but when you have a major auction house like Heritage Auctions evaluating a coin, the price becomes reality. That $703,000 valuation isn't a pipe dream. It represents the potential ceiling for a coin that is the absolute finest known of its kind. Consider the 1981 S-Proof version. One in Proof 70 Deep cameo sold from the prestigious Buyer's Buckeye collection, proving that high-end collectors are paying top dollar for the best examples. The same energy applies to the 1981D. The desire for hidden wealth is a powerful psychological driver. The idea that you could be holding a coin that is worth more than your house or your car is the ultimate American dream. It's the excitement of the hunt and the promise of a wealthy lifestyle that drives the market. So, here's your call to action. Don't just spend your pocket change, scrutinize it. Look closely at the mint mark. Is the D doubled? Are the steps on Monticello perfectly clear? Weight the nickel. If it feels light, if it has a copper color, don't let it go. Send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. That $20 investment for grading could return $700,000. This is a rare opportunity to take control of your financial destiny. The 1981D nickel is a ghost in the market, but it might be hiding in your change jar right now. The spender sees a nickel. The collector sees a legacy. Which one will you be? Look at the coin in your hand. The one you just pulled from your pocket or found buried in that old coffee can on your shelf. You see a 5-cent piece, a relic of a bygone era with a portrait of a president and a hallowed estate on the back. It is mundane. It is a piece of pocket change destined to be spent on a gumball or lost in the cushions of your couch. Now, stop and reconsider. What if I told you that the piece of metal you are looking at is a ghost? A phantom that the numismatic world has been hunting for over half a century. In the world of high-stakes collecting, there exists a specific breed of coin so rare, so shrouded in mystery, that it defies the laws of minting and common sense. We're not talking about the obvious, the pristine, or the gold-plated. We're talking about the elusive 1961 no-mint Thomas Jefferson Nickel, a coin that for decades has been the subject of hushed conversations in the halls of the American Numismatic Association and a source of sleepless nights for collectors. A coin that, in its most perfect and elusive form, possesses the potential to command a staggering price tag. We're talking about the potential for a $699,000 payday. This is not just a story about a coin. It is a story about how the most incredible treasures are often hiding in the most overlooked places. The sheer concept of it is a paradox. The 1961 nickel is the ultimate contrast between the spender and the collector. The spender sees a nickel, a trivial amount. The collector sees history, metallurgical composition, and the subtle whispers of a minting press gone rogue. The spender sees a piece of currency for a cup of coffee. The collector sees a piece of art worth a luxury car. You might be sitting on a fortune right now, but to find it, you need to see like a collector. The majority of people, those who would dismiss this coin as scrap, are the ones who cannot fathom the intricate dance of die alignment, strike pressure, and planchet composition that makes this piece of metal so extraordinary. They look at the coin and see the face value. I look at the coin and see a narrative of potential, a suspense thriller hidden in plain sight. The fear of missing out is real, because while you're wasting your pocket change on trivialities, someone else might be holding onto a bank account waiting to happen. Now, let's confront the heart of the matter. What makes this specific nickel a ghost in the market? First, we need to understand the historical context. The Philadelphia Mint, responsible for the 1961 no mint mark strikes, was operating at a breakneck pace, producing massive quantities of nickels for a booming post-war economy. Over 73 million of these nickels were struck. That number alone should send a shiver down your spine, because out of 73 million coins, only a microscopic fraction possess the characteristics that separate a legendary treasure from the ordinary. You see, 1961 was a perfect storm of production and quality control failure. To meet demand, dies were overused and improperly maintained. This led to one of the most intriguing phenomena in numismatics, the full steps designation. If you turn your nickel over, you will see the majestic Monticello. The steps leading up to the entrance are the key. For a coin to be considered of premium value, it must have full steps. That means 6 distinct, clear, and unbroken horizontal lines on the steps of Monticello. Due to the lack of striking pressure used in that era, most coins look like they have a featureless blob where the stairs should be. The metal simply did not flow into the deepest parts of the die. When the full steps are visible, it is a sign of an exceptional strike, a fluke in a sea of mediocrity. It is the numismatic equivalent of winning the lottery. At the MS-65 grade, this designation can increase the value of an otherwise ordinary coin by 20 times its standard worth. But the story does not stop there. We must delve into the errors, the anomalies that make the market salivate. This is where the ghost narrative takes shape. Let's talk about the double die. Imagine looking at the inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or 5 cents through a magnifying glass. You might see the letters with a ghostly outline, like a shadow cast by a light source. This is the product of a misaligned die. The 1961 Jefferson Nickel has several known double die varieties, and when in high grades, these are monstrously expensive. There's also the triple die, which is even more pronounced and rare. These errors are so distinct that they are cataloged and hunted by the most dedicated variety collectors in the world. Furthermore, the Mint's obsession with speed caused horrifying errors that were not caught by quality control. Coins were struck off-center, meaning the image was cut in half, creating a blank, crescent-shaped space on the coin. A 1961 proof nickel with this error can range from a few hundred to thousands of dollars, depending on the dramatic nature of the misstrike. There were clipping errors, where the metal wasn't cut properly, leaving a curved bite mark on the coin's edge. But the most spectacular, and the one that ties directly into our potential $699,000 valuation, is the wrong planchet error. This is when a nickel is struck on a planchet mint for a dime or a penny. The dimensions are off. The coin is underweight. It is an anomaly. One 1961 nickel struck on a cent planchet, graded MS-64, sold for a fortune at auction. If you find a 1961 nickel that doesn't feel right, that looks too thin, or has a copper tint to the edges, you're holding pure gold. Now, prepare yourself for the resolution. What is this coin actually worth in the real world? If we're talking about a standard, war 1961 nickel, it is worth exactly 5 cents, maybe a dime if you were lucky. But as soon as you cross the threshold into mint state and full steps, the game changes. An uncirculated MS-65 can fetch around $35, but when full steps is added, that coin becomes a $20,000 to $23,000 proposition, as evidenced by the 1961 DMS-65FS that sold in 2004. But we are not talking about standard value. We are talking about the pinnacle. The market heat for the 1961 nickel has been building for years. While most top values in recent years have fluctuated in the $3,000 to $11,000 range for a well-struck MS-67, the true unicorn is a proof 66 triple die reverse or a perfect MS-67 plus coin. The MS-67 examples are considered major condition rarities. It is in this rarefied air where the coin is flawless, the strike is perfect, and the error is dramatic that the value skyrockets into the hundreds of thousands. This brings us back to the question of the $699,000 valuation. That is not just a number. It is the theoretical ceiling for a perfect combination of full steps, a spectacular mint error, and the kind of eye appeal that drives auction houses into a frenzy. This is the ghost price. It exists as a potential because the market is currently starved for a specimen of this caliber. It is a number that represents the absolute pinnacle of what this coin could achieve in a bidding war between titans of the industry. This is where urgency comes into play. The window for finding these coins is closing. The more time passes, the more these coins circulate, get lost, get melted down, or are hoarded by those who know what they have. Every day you wait is a day that a treasure could be lost to the void. The market is hot. Collectors and investors are actively seeking out these high-grade errors. This is the moment to check your change, to dig out the old bank bags, and to stop dismissing your pocket change as trivial. Look carefully. Examine the steps. Look for the ghosting in the letters. Weigh the coin. The difference between a nickel and a down payment on a house is in the clarity of the strike. If you find a coin with clear steps and evidence of doubling, you have found a piece of history. Don't try to clean it. Don't even handle it without gloves. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, glittering ocean of pocket change. Millions of coins, each one a tiny, seemingly identical disc of metal, pass through your hands every single year without a second thought. It is the currency of everyday life, the jingle in your pocket, the forgotten change in the car's cup holder. Now, imagine that hidden within that ocean of commonplace metal is a ghost. A treasure so rare, so shrouded in mystery, that it defies the very nature of its existence. We aren't talking about a vintage coin from a century ago, locked away in a museum vault. We're talking about a coin from 1978, a year most people would consider modern, a year that holds within its unassuming facade a potential for wealth that could redefine your life. We're talking about the 1978 no mint mark Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel, a coin that has sent shockwaves through the numismatic world, with whispers of a market value reaching an astonishing $823,000. You are about to learn why this coin isn't just a piece of metal. It's a testament to the incredible power of what if. Close your eyes for a moment and picture this. It's a lazy Sunday afternoon. You've decided to finally clean out the junk drawer in the kitchen. The one that's been overflowing with takeout menus, dead batteries, and of course, a mountain of loose change. You're sorting through it, separating the pennies from the dimes, the quarters from the nickels, your mind already on what you'll order for dinner. You pick up a dull, silver nickel, the year 1978 staring back at you. It's a common coin, as unremarkable as the day it was minted. You toss it into the keep pile, ready to be used for a vending machine or lost again in the couch cushions. You just let $823,000 slip right through your fingers. This is the stark reality of the spender versus collector contrast. The difference between seeing a coin as mere currency and recognizing it as a vessel for extraordinary value is the chasm between ordinary life and a life of hidden wealth. The fear of missing out, the FOMO, is not a marketing tactic. It is a tangible reality for anyone who has ever unknowingly spent a fortune. The question that should be burning in your mind right now is, could I have one? This is your first attention reset. I need you to pause this video right now. Go to your pocket, your wallet, your purse, or that jar on your dresser. Do you see a nickel with a 1978 on it? Good. The hunt has begun. Let's find out if you're holding a masterpiece. Now, let's confront the ghost directly. To truly understand the staggering potential value of this specific coin, we must descend into the technical abyss of the minting process and uncover the catastrophic, yet spectacular, errors that birth such legends. The 1978 nickel without a mint mark is, on the surface, the most common variety. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 663 million of these coins. They are literally worth their face value, 5 cents. But here's where the story splits. The value of a 1978 nickel is not determined by its date alone. It is about perfection and catastrophe. The first and most significant factor is the full steps designation. On the reverse of the Jefferson nickel lies Monticello, Jefferson's magnificent home. At its base is a set of steps leading up to the entrance. On most coins, these steps are weak, indistinct, often merging together due to the wear on the dies that struck them. A full steps, or 6FS designation, means that all 6 horizontal lines of the staircase are razor-sharp, completely visible, and entirely separated. This is a mark of a perfect, pristine strike, a rarity that transforms a common nickel into a coveted prize. A 1978 nickel graded MS-65 without full steps might fetch $3 to $5. The same coin with a 6FS designation can command $80 to $300 or more. It's a premium of 20 to 60 times the standard value, simply due to the clarity of these tiny lines. Even more extraordinary, a 1978 nickel graded MS-67 with full steps has been documented to sell for up to $16,000. A $16,000 5-cent piece. The possibility is already staggering. But the true phantom in the market, the one that shatters all expectations, is the error coin. Specifically, the wrong planchet error. Picture the Philadelphia Mint, a gargantuan industrial machine churning out millions of coins a day. Planchets, the blank metal discs, are fed into the coining presses. In 1978, the standard nickel planchet was composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing 5 grams. But imagine, for a split second, a rogue blank meant for a cent, a copper planchet weighing just 3.1 grams, is inadvertently fed into the nickel press. The heavy nickel dies, designed to strike a 5-gram disc, come crashing down on the smaller, lighter copper blank. The result is chaos. The design is compressed, the edges are partially missing, and the coin comes out the size of a penny but bearing the image of Thomas Jefferson. It's an imposter, an anomaly, a hybrid coin that was never supposed to exist. This is the off-metal strike, the most valuable of all errors. Experts and auction records show that a 1978 D. Jefferson nickel struck on a cent planchet can trade between $350 and $500, with high-grade examples soaring into the $1,000 to $1,700 range. A pristine, high-grade specimen of this error coin is the Holy Grail. But the ghost doesn't stop there. The minting process is a violent act of creation, and when the machine stumbles, it produces monsters of immense value. Consider the struck through grease error. As dies age, they accumulate a buildup of grease and debris. When this happens, the grease fills the recesses of the die, preventing the design from transferring fully to the coin. On a 1978 nickel, this can manifest as weakened lettering, indistinct details on Jefferson's hair, or the most common and sought-after area, the steps of Monticello appearing completely or partially filled in. A dramatic grease-filled error, where entire elements of the design are obscured, can be worth over $100. Then there's the broad strike error, which occurs when a metal collar that constrains the planchet fails, allowing the metal to spread freely. The resulting coin is larger than normal, with a thin, wavy edge. A severe broad strike on a 1978 nickel can command $125 or more. And let's not forget the cud, or die break error, where a piece of the die itself fractures, leaving a raised, blob-like mass of metal on the coin. A large, dramatic cud can reach several $100s in value. You are beginning to see the pattern. A common coin becomes an extreme rarity not by age, but by the freakish magic of a manufacturing error. It is the ghost in the market, a coin that exists in defiance of the system that created it. Now for the resolution, the revelation that should have you scrambling for your coin jar. We've established the potential value of the full steps nickel and the various error coins. But the market heat for these specific treasures in 2026 is at an all-time high. The explosion of online auction platforms and social media coin communities has created a global 24/7 marketplace for these rarities. The collective consciousness of collectors is more acute than ever, and the demand for high-grade, visually stunning errors is insatiable. This is where the narrative of the $823,000 coin truly shines. This isn't just a value assigned to a pristine, high-grade example in a textbook. It's the result of a perfect storm. Think about the astronomical prices commanded by other legendary error coins. The 1955 double-die Lincoln cent, the 1943 copper penny. The market is frothing at the mouth for the next great American error to become a pop culture phenomenon, and the 1978 nickel, with its multiple layers of potential error value, fits that bill perfectly. Could a single 1978 no mint mark Jefferson nickel with an incredible full steps designation, struck on a penny planchet, with a dramatic off-center or grease-filled error and a massive die crack, all on the same coin, fetch a price that rivals a small house? The possibility isn't just science fiction. It is the ultimate confluence of numismatic perfection and catastrophic error. It is the ghost that keeps collectors up at night. And the search for this phantom treasure is the most exhilarating treasure hunt of our time. You don't need a metal detector or a map to a sunken galleon. You need a good light source, a magnifying glass, and a sharp eye. Your call to action is simple but profound. You must look at every single 1978 nickel you come across with the eyes of a detective. Get a magnifying glass, a 10x loupe if you can, and examine those steps on the back of the coin. Are they sharp and defined, or are they weak and mushy? Look at the word states and the edge of Jefferson's hair. Do you see any areas that are flat, missing, or distorted? Weigh your nickel if you can. A weight significantly less than 5 grams is a massive red flag for a wrong planchet. Most importantly, never, ever clean a coin. Cleaning destroys the original patina and surface, slashing its collector value by a staggering amount. The time is now. The treasure is out there, sitting in car seats, forgotten in old coin jars, and hiding in plain sight within the pockets of strangers. The 1978 no mint mark Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel is more than just a coin. It is a symbol of hidden wealth, a riddle wrapped in copper and nickel, and a testament to the fact that fortune truly favors the observant eye. Subscribe to our channel and join the hunt for the next ultra-rare coin. In our next episode, we will dive deep into the world of the legendary 1969 South Double-Die Lincoln Center, a coin so rare and valuable that it could be the ultimate crown jewel in your collection. Until then, keep searching, keep learning, and never look at your pocket change the same way again. The next great American treasure could be just a coin flip away.